Hello, everybody. I'm Farrageist, and welcome to the first episode of the Anarchist State. Now, as for why this series is called the Anarchist State, I'll explain that in further detail in a later video. Let's just say it's something that I've had in mind for a while, and I'm hoping it makes an impact. Now, today I'm going to be discussing rights and responsibilities, specifically related to the First and Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, and a little bit about some of my own views on things that I've seen. Now, regarding the First Amendment, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, there's, how do I put this best way? Especially in terms of freedom of the press, there is a lot of talk about the freedom of the press, but they don't look at the responsibility that comes with that freedom. And I'd like to take a closer look at that. It is a responsibility of the press to report the news in a concise, honest, and unbiased manner. And that's something that seems to be lacking today. Regardless of whether it's major media outlets, the cable news networks, and even social media. There's a lot of political spin and corporate opinion that's pushed by these organizations, and it has an impact. And I don't see it being very helpful the way that it's impacting us. There's a lot of push to sway public opinion in one direction or the other, and it often feels like you never get the whole story. You get one side or the other. And it's kind of sad. I mean, we rely on these media outlets to let us know what's going on today in our world, in our communities. And when the most honest part of the news is the weather and traffic, when the most straightforward part of the news is the weather and traffic, it's kind of disappointing. Now, yes, I bring up the things that you'll see on major news networks, but it goes beyond that. It goes to the individual creators of content in YouTube, Instagram, all of those other social media sites. You also have a responsibility. We also have a responsibility to be honest and forthcoming and unbiased. And that doesn't happen. There seems to be a lot of divisiveness, a lot of instigation, and that really needs to stop. Right now, in our society, it's a time when we should all be coming together. And we're being divided further and further. And the press, the media, social media, that has a lot to do with it. And we can do better. It's time to put aside personal opinion. Or if you're going to express your personal opinion, please. You need to be able to do that. But you need to make it clear that this is your opinion. This is your company's opinion. This is your political opinion. Don't let that be your primary focus. Don't let your opinion be the primary focus. Because it doesn't help anyone. If all they see is a one-sided view, they don't see the whole picture. and you end up with a bunch of sheeple and a bunch of lemmings and a bunch of people at each other's throats over stuff that doesn't matter. That's the responsibility within that freedom, within that right. That's the responsibility. And it's time that people start looking at both the rights and the responsibilities. That's all that I'm going to say on that one for now. If you'd like to know more about my opinions on that, let me know. If you'd like to know more about my views on that, let me know. Now, this whole video is honestly based on a combination of my personal opinion, my political viewpoint, and just honestly my hopes for what this country, what this world could be. So please take that into account when you're watching this. Not everyone's going to agree with me. I understand. I'm hoping that there will be some who will listen. Now, moving on to the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is a very, very risky topic to talk about. There's a lot of extreme opinions on both sides, and the right to bear arms has become a highly debated topic. And I see both viewpoints. I look at both viewpoints. I kind of understand it. But again, there's a lot of focus on the right and not much attention paid to the responsibility. Now, the Second Amendment states that freedom, or a well-regulated militia be necessary to the security of a free state. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, a lot of discussion, a lot of the argument focuses only on that second part. There is a first part to that, and that does state the responsibility. A well-regulated militia, and no, I don't think that the National Guard is a militia. I have nothing against the military. I have nothing but respect for members of our armed services. I'm proud of members of our armed services, the way that they handle things. But the idea of the militia is, honestly, I don't think even that's been looked at closely enough. And I plan on going into further detail on my viewpoints on that in a later video. But the militia is the last line of defense. We are the last part of the last defense against we're there to protect our families, our communities, our homes. Whether it's from an outside force, whether it's from a corrupt government, but there's more to it. In the area where I live, there's been a lot of storms recently. There's been a lot of damage. There's been a lot of opportunities where a militia could have been helpful, because it goes beyond the idea of carrying a gun and defending people. It's also, you have to be there to support them, help them out when things happen, natural disasters, localized incidents. You have to be there. The idea is that the militia needs to be there to help the community, to support the community, to uplift the community. And again, I'll get into that further detail on that later. But the responsibility in that case, in this case, the right is tied directly to the responsibility. Uh, and while there's a lot of arguments on both sides about um, rights and limitations and this and that and the other thing, it's the fact that the all that's being argued is the right, and nobody's paying attention to the responsibilities that are entailed. I think that's a topic that needs to be addressed. So the last thing I want to talk about is the difference between rights and special treatment. As you go through life, uh, as you travel along and view things in the world, always keep in mind that you're not the only one, that there are others around you, and their rights matter as much as yours. And always be aware of that. When someone pushes for the rights of a special interest group, take a close look, and before you get involved, make sure that the rights that they're fighting for don't overstep the rights of others. At that point, you're not asking for equal rights, you're not asking for rights, you're asking for special treatment. And that's an area that can become very blurry. Especially today, with society as fractured in opinion and as broken in opinion as we are, we need to keep that in mind, that as we fight for what's important to us, we make sure that we don't put down what's important to others. We don't prevent others from having their rights matter. I understand this is kind of an odd tangent, and it's not directed at any specific groups, any specific organizations. It's just something that I think people need to keep in mind. And it's something that I look at every day, is what I believe in, what I fight for, how it will impact others. And I want to make sure that as I do things, yes, I want to, I want the freedoms and the rights to which I'm entitled. But I don't want to be stepping on anyone else to get there. Again, kind of a tangent, and it's just something I think people should look at. Now, I do have links to my other videos at the end of this one. This video is very different from the ones I've put up. And I plan on putting more videos up in this series. I hope that you'll take the time to watch them. You'll take the time to reflect and think about it. I know that not everyone will agree with my opinions, with my views, and that's fine. That's your right. You're, you're free to have your own opinion. You're also free to express your own opinion, and I want to hear it. I want to know what your opinion is, so let me know in the comments. So that's going to be about it for now. Hopefully, I've kept relatively on track, and hopefully, it's my hope that people will watch this video and others in this series, and maybe it'll make them think a bit. But until next time, I'll see you later.